Today I'm going to talk about the INFJ strength of being creative and artistic, and I think more than a strength, it is an absolute need. It is something that, is so intertwined into my life. Just thinking about it, I had to do a video about it. I was like, how am I going to talk about this, being creative and artistic? It's so much a part of me that I don't even realize. Look at this mess. This is the table next to my chair where all my knitting stuff gets piled up. So I have a current project. It is a cowl for somebody that they ordered. This is an ongoing project. It is a scarf made of scraps that when I use up a yarn and there's just a little bit left, it's the scraps. A little baby hat, another little baby hat, some yarn. I just finished something and I don't put things away. So, here's another little baby hat. And of course, knitting books. Guess who's here? It's Leo. What a surprise. So, I don't feel like the gift of being artistic and creative is limited exclusively to, works of art or things that you create. I think, we have just a mind to come up with creative solutions to problems, just a way of thinking that is different from everyone else. Well, maybe not everyone else, but different from the norm as far as how to get projects done and how to creatively accomplish things. But mostly I'm going to talk about the artistic end of it, how being a creative has served me in my life and what it looks like for me. So when I was younger in high school, I took a lot of art classes. I was very involved in that. All the art classes that I could take, I did. And I did a lot of drawing and some sculpture, but mostly drawing and watercolor painting, watercolor painting with the shading, and then I would draw over the top of that with charcoal. And that was really my favorite thing to do at that time. When I first met my husband, I was still drawing a lot, and I kind of stopped doing that. And I know he's very disappointed still that I don't draw anymore. And I also either destroyed or got rid of all of my drawings. And I thought about that a little bit after I watched a video referring to the INFJ burn down, where we will destroy things that we have created for whatever reason. And I think because high school for me was very traumatic, very difficult, having those pieces still around reminded me of that time, and I didn't want to be reminded. So I just got rid of it and I stopped drawing. I wanted to go to art school out of high school. I did not. I went to beauty school instead. And then my creative energy got put into making people beautiful, doing hair, hair color, that sort of thing. So, my job is in the beauty industry, and, I do men's and women's hair, and I do get to funnel my creativity into that. And it also comes off in the way that I decorate my home, the way that I dress, the way that I paint my face. I love color. I love to try new things. I really like watching makeup videos and watching other people paint their face because it's just so beautiful to me. Then shortly after my youngest son was born, and he's 12, I learned how to knit. And knitting has really been probably the best creative outlet for me in my life so far. Oh, Leo really wants attention today. Knitting forces me to sit down. It forces me to stop running around like a crazy person. And as my hands are going and going and going, my mind is more at peace. And trying to explain to someone what the creative process feels like You know, I can say when I'm working on a project or I'm creating something, I feel more like myself than any other time. You know, while I'm knitting something, I'm thinking about the next thing I want to knit and the next thing I want to knit. And when I observe, you know, things in nature, like the different colors that a chicken has on their feathers, you know, my brain is immediately trying to turn that into how I could do striping on a hat, or how I can make that, you know, those colors work together for something. So something as mundane as a chicken, you know, can spark my brain to say, like, we're going to use those colors together. And I think, you know, if you don't have a creative outlet for yourself, if there is not something that you are doing that's creative, I really think you're missing out. I think you need to find something, you know, just keep trying the different things until you find something, because to be able to use your brain in that way, it almost shuts off your brain. And not really shuts off your brain, but shuts off that, like, running and running and running and useless thinking and time wasting, dwelling on things that you don't have any control over and that you can't, you know, it stops that anxiety process for me. So I have some of my knitted things here because I had a box of things that I have. So this is a head wrap, and this is a new pattern that I've been doing, and I made it for someone. It's going to be shipped out here pretty soon. And then, you know, I've got baby hats and little girl hats. I'm always knitting something, you know. In the summertime when I'm busier outside and there's more to do, I knit less, but there is very few days that go by that I don't pick up my needles in the evening. A lot of times if I'm watching YouTube videos or a documentary or TV or something, I am knitting at the same time. I generally take it everywhere with me. If I have an appointment or I have somewhere I have to wait, I will pull out my knitting and keep my hands busy. Back when I was a regular churchgoer, I would sometimes bring my knitting along with me, and I would knit while I was listening to the sermon so that I could focus. And they might have thought that was rude, but it really did help me. I do sell my knits, and I have a Facebook page that I sell them on. I'll put the name of it in the description if you'd like to support me. That would be one way to do it. I do special orders. I do shipping around the world. But around the world, oh my goodness, I've never shipped anything around the world. I've shipped things around the United States where I live. Jeez, around the world. Oh, I'm so fancy now. But anyway, being a creative is really a blessing. It is, yeah, like I said at the beginning, it is so much a part of me that I forget that I am doing it. You know, it makes me feel like a whole person when I can get into a project and work on something and make things beautiful, whether it is, you know, at work or with knitting or even my flower gardens and things like that. So what are you guys working on? Do you have creative projects? Is this something that is a gift for you? Is it something that you've done your whole life? Are you better at working on projects and figuring out solutions rather than creating things? Let me know. It's interesting to me. I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for listening.